All right, Jay, let's start with Tampa. They make the change from Freeman to Glennon. Let's talk about their quarterback situation.
You know, that was a situation from last year. Schiano grew out of favor with, Freeman grew out of favor with Schiano. And I've talked to Johnson Punch this week, last week, and his time there in Tampa's over. I mean, this is not repairable. His time's over. Glennon he's a football nerd. He and I don't share the same nightlife style, if I can say.
Right, but he's got a big arm, too. He's got a big arm.
Big arm. He's just football. But Freeman, it's kind of weird, Mike, because I've known him since he came out, and if you're around him, you're thinking, boy, this is the nicest, quietest guy, and he is. But he and Schiano always had this off-field, interpersonal type of thing where he was just never Schiano's kind of guy. I think Howie Long said it best on our show. He's more of a Roethlisberger kind of guy where, you're hoping the play breaks down and he can move out and make something happen. But they're trying to put it on his play. And it has as much to do with a clash, I guess, off the field as it does to do with on the field. These two guys, they just don't mesh, and it's going to get probably worse before it gets better. This will not end in a pretty marriage.
All right, what about the other players on that team? He's had run-ins with Revis already. There's been talk about how they're going to play the defense. What about, and how stable is Schiano with the owners?
Here's the problem, Mike, is his rules are such where maybe they're okay with 18-year-olds. But they're not okay with 28-year-olds. And it's little things. Like, look, the Josh Freeman picture, from what I understand, when he overslept the picture, most teams have, this is just a little thing, most teams have where you take a team photo, it's after practice, it's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or a team walkthrough. His was at 7 o'clock in the morning. You're on the road for preseason games, not at 7 o'clock. Well, you got to stay in the hotel all day long. And it sounds a little petty, but these are adults. If I told you you're somewhere on the road and I said to you, Mike, you cannot leave your hotel at all day long. I don't care who you got here in town. You can't leave. You'd say, forget that, man. I'm a grown man. And it's just the way he goes about practice. Now, I want to make something clear, though. There is a human side to him. He's not like a Petrino or a Saban where they treat these guys like such garbage and they demean him and treat him so beneath them. Like that type of college guy, he's not like that. He has more of the human side to him, like Chip Kelly does.
Can he survive?
But it's all the other rules.
Can he survive?
Not if they don't win, he can't. No.
All right.
And it's because what's going to happen is it's going to get. Let's think about this. They brought him in because they thought it was anarchy over there under Raheem Morris. Yet these guys are getting penalty after penalty, mental mistake after mental mistake. So he's not accomplishing what they were hoping he would accomplish.
All right. Minnesota makes the move to at quarterback. What does that mean for Ponder's future?
Look, I said in week 2 on Fox NFL Sunday that Christian Ponder was in a much shorter leash than anybody realized because Castle has all those quarterbacky things about him that the players love, and Ponder doesn't. And Greg Jennings actually came out yesterday and reiterated it, and pretty much said the same thing. Hey, Castle has command of that huddle. The thing about Minnesota, Mike, you look at that team and you say to yourself, the only thing you need is a guy not to screw it up for you. You got Peterson, you got good receivers out there, you got playmakers between Jennings and Rudolph and Patterson and Simpson, that you got a good offensive line. There's absolutely no reason this team should not be a lot more effective on offense. And they realize that. Rick Spielman, this offseason, look, Ponder's his guy, first-round pick, but he did come to the realization this offseason that if this kid doesn't become a quarterback, not just a passer, but if he's not that guy who's going to sit here and be the last guy here and be in that meeting room at 9 o'clock at night, and the players all realize that, I've got to get somebody else here just in case, because we have a great core on offense. And he went between Carson Palmer. He was thinking about Castle. He wasn't just thinking about a guy who come in here and not challenge Ponder. He's done that in the past with Sage Rosenfeld. This year he knew I had to go a little bit deeper.
All right, the Niners said this week they will stand by Aldon Smith. What does that mean to his season? I mean, will they get him back at any reasonable time, or is it more likely?
No idea. No idea. No way to tell. This dude got some issues, Mike. He really does. It's not just drinking. He's got to get better. You know, he went there to help, and first of all, I completely, billion% disagree with them playing him the other day. I think it sends a horrible message. And Randy Moss said it on our show, especially after Delaney Walker, what happened to him last year, where he lost family members right after the Super Bowl to a drunk driver. I think it sends an awful message. But Aldon Smith, you know, when I put the story out on Sunday, everybody I talked to said, look, Jay, this is not a league issue. This is a kid who has issues, who has problems. We need to get him help. We have no idea if that's 28 days, 90 days. We got no clue. But we know before we bring him back, he needs to get help. And they weren't sure. When I reported on Sunday, I said they're gonna push for him to go to rehab as early as tomorrow, this week. They weren't sure how open to be, because when you have a problem, you never know how somebody is going to react. But luckily, he realized it, and he went in there. But, again, I am totally against the fact that they played him last week.